So for the first thing that we're going to do, you need the regular marker, the Crayola marker, not the dry erase marker. So please grab the Crayola marker. You're going to be writing on the posters that I have around the room. There are 6 posters around the room with 6 different mathematical symbols that you see show up in equations or expressions. I've got one over here. I've got one back there. One at the very back of the room on the wall. There's one over here. There's one right here, and then there's one on the door. Again, these are symbols. They might be operations. They might be, just other meaningful mathematical symbols that you see show up in equations or expressions. What I want you guys to do, let's see, how many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 people. Cool. So no more than 2 people at any poster. 17 people divided by 6. That would be 3. No more than 3 people at a poster, because I don't want to end up with clumps of people here. You're going to move around the room. You need to hit every single poster. You are going to write down at least one word for each of these symbols. And by one word, I mean, like, if you were to hear this word or read this word in a real life situation, you'd be like, that's the symbol I need for this, or that's the operation I would need to do here, okay? So think about real world situations, think about story problems that you might have read, when you would need to use these different symbols or ideas to actually figure it out. About 30 seconds at each poster. We don't want more than 3 people or you're going to end up with a clump and then you can't write on it. No repeats. So if you get to a poster and you go to write down a word, like if I come over here and I was like, oh, that's a plus. If somebody else already wrote plus, I can't put it on here. I got to think up something else. So I'm going to give you guys about 60 seconds right now for you to look around at these different symbols. You can jot some ideas down on your whiteboard too if you want to, because you're probably going to need more than one word unless you're the first person to that poster. Look around, get some ideas in your head. And when you feel ready, go pick a poster. Every single poster should end up with about 17 different words on it. No more than 3 people at a poster. Sorry, it can be a short phrase too. Yep. It doesn't have to be just a single word. If you know a short phrase that you would see that would indicate that you needed that mathematical symbol, you can put that as well. If there are more than 3 people at a particular poster, skip that one and come back to it. You can even give like short examples of ways to do that thing. Like what's anything that you would read that would indicate you need that particular symbol. Ooh, I'm seeing some good ones already over here, and this is usually the one that doesn't get as much love. You're welcome. So using the non-dry erase marker, we're adding at least one word to each poster of when you would know in a story problem or a real life situation, when would you need that particular symbol algebraically. Okay. No more than 3 people at any given poster at a time, just so we don't end up with a bunch of people clumped in one spot. good ones. Love some of these. Yay, one of my favorites showed up back here. If you've added one to each poster, if you're all done with all the posters, please put your regular Crayola marker back up. I've already had some people like accidentally stick or use their regular marker on the whiteboards. Yes. I'll have to look. Oh, I like it. I love that you put that up there. Seeing a lot of good stuff. Come up with something. When would you need to use something like that?
Can I write like a short equation?
Maybe write a short equation and then figure out like what words would go with it. I really want words because we're working on like verbal representations of like when would I actually need this thing. All of these things exist because we have real world situations where we would need to use them. And so I really want to try to connect this to what those situations are. All right, we're going to wrap it up in the next 1 minute, 60 seconds. If you've absolutely run out of steam, see if you can come up with something in the next 60 seconds. And if not, go ahead and sit down. So after you've written on all the posters or after you've totally run out of steam, please put your regular markers back up so that we don't accidentally write on the whiteboards with them. Because it happens. Guilty of it myself. Not proud of it, but I am going to be honest about it. The room and read what we've got on these posters, and if we as a group can think of anything else, if any of these words get you to thinking like, oh, there's another one I just remembered, you can shout it out and we'll add it to the poster. Okay? So I'm going to start over here. We have put together, I love that one, add, total, grow, increase, most, and. I really like that one. That's another one that gets used a lot in real world situations. This and this means we're going to put it together. We're going to add it. Plus, more, join, sum. There's a very mathy word that means to add. Addition, boost, larger than, build, positive. Love those. Some of my favorites showed up on here. And then we get over here, break up, separate, split, portion, group together, reduce, I like that one, division, spread out, each, divide, cut, half. I like that one. I like that one a lot. So there's one that didn't show up on here that I would love to add, but only if we can think of it as a group.
It was good.
Yeah. It's actually related to what this symbol means, which I'm a little embarrassed as a math teacher to say I didn't know this until last year. Do you guys know why this symbol gets used for division?
Because it's the same. It's kind of like
Fraction.
I don't think it's for. I mean, the
Similar to it, yeah, because it's things getting smaller. But then what do the two dots here represent?
Numerator, denominator.
Numerator and denominator. So fraction, I'm going to add fraction here. If it is a fraction of, right, we would use this symbol. As we move forward over the next several days, if we think of new words that belong on these posters, I'm going to leave these posters up and we're going to continue to add to them. I'm going to have the other classes' posters up as well so that we have lots of ideas and words to pull from. Coming back here, we have equivalent, same as, equal, congruent, sum, balanced. I like that. Together, equal to, absolute, total, solution, is. How often do you guys see that show up in a story problem? Is. And what they mean is like, do the operations and tell me the total. But they'll only use the key word is. And answer. Love it. Love it, love it. I commented already because over here, I saw one of my favorites show up. So we have multiply. 6 times 5 with the times underlined, so times would be that key word there. Multiplication, distribute, I like that one. Product, addition, I can't read the first part though. Doubled, that would specifically be multiplying by what? 2. Per, I like that one. Per, you guys know that one from Algebra 1, right? Like per hour or per mile. Here's the one that I love. Of. Somebody made fun of it earlier today because this one showed up in third period as well. But how many times is this like, I'm going to tip 15% of the total? What operation are you doing? You're multiplying. But it's an easy to miss one. Can you guys think of any others that belong over here? Think about this word per from Algebra 1. Are there any other ways that they might say that same idea but without using the word per? By? Anything else? Not necessarily. I'm just trying to crowdsource some ideas. If we think of any more, I'll come over and I'll write them on here. We got 2 more to go. Minus, decrease, subtract, take away, negative, deduct, less, least, shrink, cut, less than, remove, lose. There's another one that I'm thinking of here that I'd love to see up here. It also starts with a D like decrease does. It means to subtract. What? Depreciate. We could put that here. What do we find when we subtract 2 numbers? Not dividend. Deduct. We've got, do we have deduct up here? No, we do. Oh yeah, we do have deduct. Yep. Can you think of, like, what is it that we find when we subtract 2 numbers? The difference. The difference of 2 numbers would mean to subtract. And last one up here. This one never gets a lot of love. This is a hard one, isn't it? We use these a lot, but sometimes it's really hard to know when you need to use them. So parentheses, yes. Separate. A lot of times it means we're going to be multiplying because we're going to distribute, right? Is that a word that I could put on one of these other posters? Distribute? It could go on division or multiplication. I think it's on the multiplication one, but we can distribute with division too. And then there's 2 over here that I really love. First. Why do I like first so much? Yes. And we've got order of operations written up here. PEMDAS, that's my other favorite over here. Start with parentheses. You do all that stuff first, and then you would move on. I'm going to put some things up on the board. We're going to be practicing for a game that we're going to play. Think of this as the warm-up round, okay? I'm going to put some words up on the board, and I want you to write an expression. So you're going to use some of these symbols. You're going to use numbers. You're going to use variables. Take what's written in words and write an algebraic expression that would mean that, and then show it to me, okay? Anytime there's an unknown, so if it says a number, we want to use a variable there, all right? So on your whiteboards, I want you to write 3 times a number minus 7. 3 times a number minus 7. Throw it away if it's dead. 3 times a number minus 7, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, use a variable where it says a number, but that idea is absolutely correct. Yep. Yes, yes. I want you to use a variable where it says a number, yes. So if you used an actual number this time, you picked one out, that's okay, but moving forward with these examples, if it says a number, I'm missing the last part, yes. Nope, that could work. Yes, except I want a variable. AB, let me see, I didn't see it. Yes, no, that's right. Yes. Yes. All right, are you guys ready for the next one? Okay. It's really similar to this, but it's not going to be the same. A number minus 7, then multiplied by 3. Close, but no. Nope, but it's close. Yes. Yes. Close. Close. Yes. Close. 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 Yes. Close. Yes. Yes. Close. No. Yes. Yes. Super close. Yes. Close. Think about this. It's telling you the order that it wants you to do it in, right? What are you supposed to do? I'm going to write down all the things that it says, and you tell me according to the way the sentence is written what's supposed to happen first, okay? Okay, so a number, I'm going to call that x, minus 7, then multiplied by 3. So if I just write down the words, this is what I would have, but now I want you to think about order of operations. According to order of operations, what would I do first? Order of operations says parentheses, then exponents. Order of operations says I would do this part first, right? But what does the sentence tell me to do first? A number minus 7. So how do I make sure that the number minus 7 happens first? Use parentheses there. So I'm going to cut this. If I put parentheses, now I'm doing that part first. And then I'm multiplying by 3. Would it change according to order of operations if I moved the 3 to the front? No, because order of operations still has me doing the parentheses first and then multiplying. This is the first time we've seen an expression with words where we needed those parentheses, right? Do you guys see any words that showed up here that would indicate I need parentheses that we might want to add to our poster? Then. Anything that's giving me an order might indicate that I need parentheses. All right, here's the next one. A shirt originally cost $C, and it's on sale for 60% of the original cost. I'm so happy this word showed up on our poster. A shirt originally cost C dollars, but now it's on sale for 60% of the original cost. I can't tell if there's a decimal point. If there is, it's correct. Close, but no. Take away something that's already there. Yes. 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 Close. Yes. Yes. If there's a decimal point, then yes, I can't tell. Which poster did we have the word of show up on? Multiplication. What would I want to be multiplying? C is going to get multiplied to that 60%. How would I write 60% in a way that I could put it in my calculator? 0.60. So you could write it like this, or you could write it as 0.6C. I saw somebody use a fraction earlier today, which was correct. 60 divided by what would tell me the percent? 60 divided by 100 times C would have the same meaning. I've got two more for you. The total number of hours worked during D days for a person that works 7 hours each day. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 Can I say it again? Yes. The total number of hours worked during D days for a person that works 7 hours each day. Yes. Close. No, get rid of everything but the first two things you wrote. Yes, yes. Yep. Yep.
Is this the same thing? No, it's not.
You still need to get rid of two things. The stuff at the end. Just totally erase it. Get rid of it. Oh, no, not the first two things you wrote. The first two symbols that you had written down. There you go. Yep, perfect. Leave it like that. Yes. So here's one of the ways you can think through this one. If I worked 7 hours a day, and I worked one day, how many total hours would I have if I only worked one day? 7. What about if I worked for 2 days? What about for 3 days? What about 10 days? What did you just do? Multiplied. 7 times however many days it's been. Notice, I started with a pattern, but then I jumped way further ahead, and you guys were able to tell me what was happening, or what it would be. Find that pattern. What would you do to find the next? What word tipped those of you off that got this right away that we were going to be multiplying? Each. Did that show up on our poster? Let's go look. I remember seeing per over here. I don't see each. So let's add that one. Last one here. And then we're going to play a practice round of the game, and then we'll play the full game. The total amount of pay for working H hours at a wage of $7.25 per hour. The total amount of pay for working H hours at a wage of $7.25 per hour. Yes. 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 Close. What's our key word here? Per. Per means what operation? Multiplication. What would we be multiplying together? 725 and H for however many hours you worked. Because if you worked 100 hours, you get 725 for each hour, per hour, right? All right. You guys ready for the game? Okay, we're going to play a practice round first. I'm going to put you guys in groups of 4 to play the practice round. For the full game, there's going to be more of us. In fact, I think it's going to be the whole class in a group. All right, so I'm going to have you 4 as a group. Everybody take a card. I'm going to have you 4 as a group. I'm going to have you 3 as a group right here. Somebody just needs to take 2 cards. You 4. Everybody gets a card. And then back here, I'm going to rope you into this group over here. And I will take a card as well. You pass one back to her. Thank you. And I'm going to steal this one. Okay. Yep. Okay. Does everybody have a card? Everybody should get a card. You need at least 1 card. Do not share them with your neighbor. Your card is your card alone. Here's how you play. I'm going to demonstrate the beginning, and then in your group of 4, you need to play along, okay? So you're going to pick somebody to start. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to be the starter. If I'm the person that starts, I read the who has, all right? It might require some simplifying, but you need to look at your card for the I have part. And if you have what I said, you would say, I have, and you'd shout it out. And then you would be the next person to read your who has, all right? It'll stop with whoever read first. It's going to make a full circuit. So I'm going to read 1/2 of the opposite of 8. 1/2 of the opposite of 8. The opposite. What would opposite mean? Negative.
I have negative.
You have -4. Who in my group had -4? You have -4. Okay. So then, my brain just faded. Anaya.
Oh, you don't agree?
Yeah. Give me just 1 second. Then Anaya is going to read her who has, and then we're going to finish playing out. I want you guys to play this practice round in your groups. Pick a person to start, and play until it gets back to that person. Okay, I have to. All right, you read it all the way around. You guys understand kind of how it works? Okay, so and we're going to play same thing, but with 4 cards. Okay. You guys get all the way around? You get a feel for how it works. Okay, we're going to play it with everybody. Okay. You don't like this? It's fun. All right. Did you guys get all the way around? Okay, select your cards and put the little thing back on them. Guys got all the way done. Recollect your cards, put the paper clip on them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. Perfect. Okay. Do I get way too excited about this? Yes, I do. Okay. Who am I going to make share? I've got 16 cards and 17 people. so let's see. Tanisha and Gianna, you guys are going to share one, okay? Pick your card, any card. All right. So now here's the deal about this round. Did you guys notice on the last one, some of them were straight up exactly what you saw on your card, and some of them required some simplifying? Did you guys notice that? Like there was the one that was a sum, or the sum of 6 and a number, but sum of 6 plus 3, or 6 and 3. But nobody's card had 6 plus 3 on it, right? What did the card say? 9. Card. 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 All right, so the ladies are going to share this one, okay? Okay, we got to pick a person to start with. Zenith, I'm going to pick you.
Okay.
So you're going to read yours out loud. Yep, just like that.
I have.
You read who has, sorry.
Oh, okay. Who has 6 subtracted from the opposite of the sum of 3 times a number and 5?
Woo, okay. Time out. This is why you guys have the whiteboards. She's going to read it again, slower, and she's going to chunk it out. You guys should probably write it down because you're probably going to have to simplify. Okay, so read just a couple words at a time.
Okay. Who has 6 subtracted from the number opposite of the sum
The
of
number?
3 times a number and 5?
Woo, that's a lot. Okay. No, we're going to read it again. We're going to read it again. No, that's okay.
Thank you, bro.
6 subtracted from the opposite of the sum of 3 times a number and 5. Woo. Let me read the back part again. The sum of 3 times a number and 5. The sum of 3 times a number and 5. Okay, I kind of have that in my head. Write it down if you need to, and I would highly recommend it. Does everybody have the sum of 3 times a number and 5?
3 times the number and 5.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to back it up. I'm reading it in reverse order right now. All right, so here's what it says right before that. The opposite of. What would I do for the opposite of? Put a negative sign. So the opposite of, negative, the sum of 3 times a number and 5. The opposite of the sum of 3 times a number and 5. All right, are you ready for me to back it up one more so that we get all the way to the beginning? 6 subtracted from the opposite of the sum of 3 times a number and 5. This is a hard one to start with,
Bro, it's 3 sentences.
right? Walk me through this. Let's do it together. I like what I'm seeing there. So, 3 times a number and 5. What does that look like? I want the opposite of that.
Negative 3 minus 5.
-3 -5. This is a situation where I might use parentheses, the opposite of that sum, right? Zenith, can you read just the first part of it again?
Yes.
Okay.
6 subtracted
Yep.
from the opposite.
6 subtracted from the opposite of this. How would I take 6 from a number? Is it going to be 6 minus, or is it going to be -6? -6, right? If I take $6 from you, I'm going to take it away from you, so I need to know how much you have, and then I take the 6 away. So how would that simplify then? Because I don't think anybody's cards have that. What could I do to that?
We can distribute first.
We can distribute first. So what would that look like if I distributed?
And then negative 3x minus 3 minus 5 minus 6.
Okay.
And then you do the related properties, whatever. So negative 5 and negative 6. Isn't that negative 11?
Negative 11. Does anybody have?
Me.
So what do you have? Say, I have.
I have negative 3x minus 11.
Negative 3x minus 11. That was a hard one to start with, but good job sticking with it. All right, so Dante is going to read his who has.
Right now,
Yep.
who has the difference of 7 times a number and 1?
Who has the difference of 7 times a number and 1?
I have
What do you have?
7x minus 1.
7x minus 1. All right, so Audra's going to read her who has now.
Who has the difference of 8 times a number and 4 times the same number?
Who has the difference of 8 times a number and 4 times the same number? You might need to simplify it. Kyla, I like what you've got. Simplify it now.
I think I do.
What do you have?
Am I right for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
8 times a number would be what? 8x. 4 times the same number? 4x. The difference of those? 4x, because you'd subtract them. Awesome. So read your who has.
Wait, why would you subtract?
Because it said the difference of. Mm-hmm.
Who has 8 more than 3 times the sum of a number and 1?
Okay, so who has 8 more than? What does that mean to do? Write it down on your thing.
Plus 8.
8 more than. Okay, keep reading.
3 times the sum
3 times the sum
of a number and 1.
of a number and 1. 8 more than 3 times the sum of a number and 1. So think about what you would do first. 8 more than 3 times the sum of a number and 1. If you're going to multiply something by a sum, what would you need to know first? If I said 8 times the sum of 3 and 1, what would you need to do first? I would need to add first. So if it says 3 times the sum of a number and 1, what would this need to look like? Dante just said we would add first if we're multiplying something by the sum. 3 times the sum of a number and 1. What would that look like? 3 times the sum. How do I do the sum of a number and 1? It'd be x plus 1. But I want to do 3 not just times a number. I want to do 3 times the sum. So how would I do that? Put parentheses. 3 times the sum. Anastasia, can you read the very first part of your card again?
8 more than 3 times the sum.
Of a number and 1. 8 more than that. What would I need to do to this then?
Add another parentheses and then plus
Where should my parentheses be?
it. Around the 3 and after the.
Like this? And then 8 more than that. Okay. If I take that outside set of parentheses, the brackets away, would it change the order that I do it in? No. Order of operations says to do what first? Parentheses. This still has me doing this first, right? And then you would do what? Distribute. We'd multiply next. Would that order change if I took these 2 away? No. Do I have to have the second set of parentheses? Nope. You don't have to. It's okay to put them there. If taking them away doesn't change the outcome, then they don't have to be there. What can I do to this to simplify it so I can figure out whether or not I have that on my card? Distribute. What would that give me?
3x
3x plus
plus 3
3
plus 8.
plus 8. 3x plus 3 plus 8. Can we simplify? What do you have?
3x plus 11.
3x plus 11. Absolutely. Okay, read your who has.
Who has 2 times a number plus 4?
2 times a number plus 4. Who has?
2 times the number plus 4.
So read off what it says at the top. Like when it says the I have.
2x plus 4.
2x plus 4. Yes.
Who has add 10 to 3 times the number subtracted from 1?
Ooh. Who has what?
Add 10 to 3 times the number.
Add 10 to 3 times a number.
Yes.
How would I do 3 times a number? 3x. So I'm going to add 10 to that. Keep talking.
Oh,
No, that's okay.
subtracted from 1.
Subtracted from 1. So I do minus 1 from this, or do I do the 1 and then the minus? 1 and then the minus. Should I put parentheses around this or not?
Yes,
Yes, why?
because we're taking, from the 1 we're taking the sum, not just the 3.
Yes, from the 1 I'm taking the sum, not just the 3x. So I do want parentheses around this. What would that look like when I distribute it? Negative 3x, negative 10, and then I combine. Nice work. Hey guys, please leave your green cards on the table. There's no new homework tonight. Please put your whiteboards, your dry erase markers, and your erasers up on your way out the door. Thank you so much.